Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 580th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just before I introduce the teams, just to say this should be an intriguing battle, as 3 of the 4 players in the other team have emerged from last weekend with 16 wins under their belt. 16 winning streak. Last weekend they never lost a game all weekend, and as I say, they had 16 wins in a row, and this is the first game of this weekend, so make no mistake, they will want to extend that winning streak of 16. And as I say, this should be a very interesting and intriguing battle, because that team is going to be full of confidence. You know, they're going to be they've gelled as a really good team. And as I say, this will be a real challenge for us. And as I say, last weekend, 3 out of the 4 of them were in a 4v4 team that won 16 games in a row. 8 games Friday night and 8 games Saturday night, and they were undefeated. So it should be a really interesting battle. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Uther. Now, Uther has got 11 infantry, 3 archers, 5 heavy cavalry, and a fast-moving cavalry unit. So you see there, you can see he's got his Praetorian cavalry with gold shield, gold attack on, and he's got his fast-moving auxiliary missile cavalry unit. You don't see that very often on the 31k battlefield, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does with that. So that's a tried and tested army of Uthers, and should be quite interesting to see how well he does with it during the course of the battle. Our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's got his very old very old Roman army of 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. Be interesting to see how well that does. And our next teammate is Brotherhood member Mystique. Now, we haven't seen Mystique for months and months. It's nice to see Mystique back. Now, Mystique has got 18 infantry and 2 cavalry. Okay, so 18 infantry and 2 cavalry. Think of the firepower of 18 urban cohorts and just 2 cavalry. But will that 18 urban cohorts make up for just 2 cavalry? I guess we'll just have to see during the course of the battle. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Aurelius. Now, Aurelius has got 10 infantry, 6 cavalry, 2 archers, and a peasant unit. Okay, if you quick look at the upgrades on his infantry, I think he's got mixed upgrades. You can see a lot of his infantry have got 7 upgrades and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Some of his infantry have just got gold shield, gold attack, but if you notice, he's got an eagle unit plus his infantry general. So there's a heck of a lot of morale going on there with his army, with the experience stripe, and with an eagle unit and the infantry general. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, and if you can see there, he's got 7 upgrades and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's his army there. Looks pretty good to me. So there's our team. I say it should be easy for you to see who's who in this battle, because we are all SBQR. Okay, so we're all the purple SBQR faction, and I say it should be a great battle for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have the host of the battle, Brotherhood member Crypto. Now, Crypto's got 2 archers, 13 infantry, and 5 cavalry. Okay, quick look at the upgrades on his infantry. I believe he's got mixed upgrades. Yeah, if you notice here, most of his infantry have got 7 upgrades and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Remember, that experience stripe can really make a difference to a unit. Can keep it fighting longer, and especially towards the end of the battle when you need it fighting more, that stripe can make a difference. And I think the 4 units in the rear of his battle formation are all 7 upgrades. Let's have a look at the his cavalry there, and he's got 7 upgrades on his cavalry and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's a pretty good Roman army there. It'll be interesting to see how well it does. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Barclayman. Now, Barclayman has got his faction of choice, Carthage. Now, he has got 6 pony infantry, 9 sacred band, and 6 cavalry. Now, it's unusual to see pony infantry bought on a 31k battlefield, but my guess is he's going to use them as his pilot shield units. Okay, they're spear units. They're going to be anti-cavalry. And as I say, they're not that great infantry, but he can use them well as pilot shield units, and he keeps his elite sacred band spearmen at the rear of his battle formation. But here's something interesting that I think you will find interesting. And you say he's got 6 of his sacred band cavalry, but check out the upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fully upgraded sacred band cavalry there. Fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So that's some serious cavalry there he's got. It'll be interesting to see how well he does that during the course of the battle. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Pompey, who I would say increasingly is making Macedon his faction of choice. He still, I think, probably plays with his Brutii army more than Macedon at the moment, but I think he's playing with Macedon more and more. And remember, Macedon played well can be an absolutely devastating faction, even against Rome. And as I say, this I would say is his secondary faction of choice. And just to say, look at the length of those Macedonian pikes. Our Roman SBQR troops are going to have to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. A very tall order, I think, for Roman troops. And as I say, this is Pompey's secondary faction of choice. But I think he's starting to get more and more. He's playing with it more and more, and he is very, very good with Macedon. And their last teammate is Brotherhood member Spearman. Now, Spearman has got 10 infantry, 3 archers, and 6 cavalry. And if we check out the upgrades on his infantry there, you'll see that most of his infantry have got 7 upgrades on: an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Okay. Let's say there, if you look there, see experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack, and that really does, as I say, make a difference during the course of the battle. That experienced stripe. He's got his general there, as an infantry general there as well for extra morale. Let's say he's got his 3 archer units, and then he's got his 6 cavalry in a very, very old-fashioned cavalry formation. You don't see this very often. Many, many years ago, you see a lot of people have a cavalry formation like this, but make no mistake, this is very old school by Spearman. So there's the enemy team, full of experience and full of confidence. This should be a great battle for you to watch. So just to say again that 3 of the players in the other team were in a very, very successful 4v4 team last weekend where they won 16 games in a row. Now make no mistake, they will want to extend their 16 winning streak here, and they are a very cohesive and great team play team here, and that's why they've won so many battles last weekend. So make no mistake, it's going to be a real challenge for our team to come up against these guys, because as a lot of you know when you gel as a team, you've got confidence. It gives you that edge in your game, and knowing that they've won 16 games in a row last weekend, and this is the first game they're playing this weekend together, as I say, they will be looking to extend that 16 game winning streak. And as I say, we'll try and do our best to stop it, but with such a good team that they are, this could be very difficult for us. And as I say, it should be an interesting battle for you to watch. Which way do you think it's going to go? Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle, you can see Uther using that fast-moving cavalry unit he bought here, as we thought, to target the archers of the other team there. Very, very fast-moving unit there. As I say, it's a missile-throwing unit there. I think it throws spears or javelins there into the enemy troops. So it's a useful little unit to have. And as I say, you don't see that very often brought to the 31k battlefield. So it'll be interesting to see how Uther uses that unit during the course of the battle. Just thought it was nice to look at his battle formation there. Unusual battle formation. But that's one of his tried and tested old-fashioned battle formations there. So it should work well. As we look at the battle line here, you can see, as we thought, Barclayman using his cheap pony infantry to soak up enemy pilers in his pilot shield units there. So as I say, that's a good move there. And as their spear units, you wouldn't want to attack them with cavalry, because of course they would be anti-cavalry units, and they can just soak up the pilers just like any other expensive unit. So why use an expensive unit when you can use a cheap unit? Here you can see Uther moving his SBQR cavalry away from that Macedonian cavalry. Nice move there by Pompey, bringing his spearmen and cavalry forward as well. So if Uther tried to fight that cavalry, of course Pompey would have brought his spear units, his pike units into the battle there. So let's say nice tactical move there by Pompey. As I say, that's increasingly getting to more to be his faction of choice now, and it wouldn't surprise me if he started using it more in his Brutii army. There you are, you can see Mystique army there with 18 urban cohort units. Now as I say, think of the firepower that those urban cohorts can bring to this battle. Okay, and with 18 urban cohorts, I reckon that's going to give Mystique a lot of confidence to be very aggressive there. Okay, let's pause again for a second. So here you can see Aurelius moving out to the right flank. Now just look at the enemy cavalry. All of the fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry, you've got Spearman's cavalry, and you've got Crypto's cavalry there out on the right. Now that looks to me like they may well be looking to try and smash our right flank there with cavalry and infantry hits there. So Aurelius needs to be aware of all that enemy cavalry out there, because make no mistake, the enemy looks like, to me, like that's where they're going to strike, and that is where the hammer blow could fall the hardest. I say over here on our left flank, as say Uther's facing Pompey. Now Uther won't want to take those pikemen on head on, but Pompey would love him to do that. As I say, look at the length of those Macedonian pikes, and just imagine that Uther's SPQR Roman infantry have got to try and fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. So that's why Roman generals are reluctant to take pikes and spears head on. As I say, there's a general view of the battle there. You can see here that a lot of pilers here going into Barclayman's pony infantry. As I say there, that's his cheap infantry, so he doesn't mind them soaking up the enemy pilers, and he keeps his elite sacred band spearmen at the rear there that he can bring into the battle when he feels ready to do so. If you notice here, can you see what Mystique is doing here? I think Mystique is bringing units forward, throwing all their pilers into the enemy troops, then withdrawing those units, and then throwing more units forward so they can throw their pilers in as well. This is a tactic you don't see very often these days, but it's something that used to happen quite a lot, especially with big infantry armies. You put units forward, they throw all their pilers into the enemy troops, you pull them back, and then you put more units forward then so they can throw their pilers in as well. So that very much looks to me like Mystique's using some old school infantry tactics there. Let's say there you can see Mystique putting some units into Testudo. Remember those that Testudo formation, very, very good at repelling missiles. So you suffer a lot less casualties in Testudo. But as I say here, you can see a lot of enemy cavalry out here. You can see Aurelius has changed. Let's just pause again for a second. So you can see Aurelius has turned the flank here to face the threat of all this cavalry. Okay, look at all the enemy cavalry just loitering with intent there, looking to me like they're ready to smash in, and especially with an infantry hit as well. That's a heck of a lot of cavalry charge bonus could charge into our right flank. And as I say, I think Aurelius has done the right thing there in turning our right flank there so he can face the threat. Let's say I've got my army here facing some of Barclayman's infantry and some of Spearman's infantry. Let's say you can see Uther here facing Macedonian Pompey there. Okay, so there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment. But I was just going to say, do you think either team's got a faction advantage, or do you reckon it's pretty even here? Let's say you can see here Mystique throwing in lots of pilers once again into the enemy troops, and having pilers thrown back into Mystique's units from the enemy team. Make no mistake, those cheap pony infantry have soaked up pilers really well there. And there I can see Mystique putting some units into Testudo. Let's say, just look at that, and that's a real formation used by the Romans back in the day. Look at the protection it affords the men within it from missiles. Really good formation, that, I think. But as I say, over here on the right flank, you got Aurelius there, and as I say, a lot of enemy cavalry there. Now, Crypto can be very, very aggressive, so it'll be interesting to see if Crypto's going to be aggressive on that flank. You can see Spearman here moving his Scipii troops forward towards my army there, and over on our left flank here you can see Pompey attacking here, moving forward with his Macedonians. Now when I say attack, what he'll do is he'll move forward, make contact with the enemy troops, and put his pikes down. He won't want to move any more than that. Remember, Macedon is really good at defense. If you put the pikes down and they're in guard mode, and they just invite attack, and that's the last thing you want to do, is attack those Macedonians head on, unless you're going to pin and hold them and get units around their flank or rear to attack them from the flank or rear. Okay, here you can see Spearman charging his cavalry units in there. I think routed some of Mystique's units there. That was a nice lightning hit there by Spearman. Remember, as we say, Mystique has got 18 urban cohorts there, so as I say, think of the firepower that those 18 units can deliver onto the other team. But as I say here, Pompey has got really, really proficient with Macedon. As I say, it's increasingly becoming his faction of choice. And as I say, those of you that have played against Macedon, you know that a really good general with Macedon can be extremely effective on the 31k battlefield. And he is, as I say, he's really mastering the Macedonian faction here. There's a general overview there. You can see Mystique charging forward there. Okay, so over here on our right flank, you can see that Aurelius is charging his cavalry. Get ready for this, and bang, as he smashes in to Crypto's forward Julii units here. Okay, so maybe now with all of Mystique's units there and Aurelius's units there, we may well be starting to attack Crypto on this flank. You see Crypto's red Julii cavalry over there on the right flank, looking like it's going to charge in. Now, is it going to charge in, do you think? Looks like it's going to, as it's getting closer and closer. Is it going to hit? And then no, decided to pull the cavalry back there, but you can see Aurelius is charging his cavalry back in again. He's going to charge back into Crypto's red Julii infantry there, and bang, as he smashes in there. Right, can you see my cavalry? I've brought my cavalry in here as well. I'm going to smash in there. I'm going to look for that red Julii general as my cavalry smashes in, and bang, as I smash in there. Can you see that Aurelius took his cavalry through the Julii ranks and came in behind them, so he sandwiched them there in a cavalry hit. Whoa, that was a good bit of teamwork there from Aurelius's cavalry and my cavalry there. You can see Spearman bringing his cavalry in. Might be a good idea for him to back them off, because we've got cavalry and infantry superiority at this particular part. Right, okay, let's pause the game for a second. So, at this stage of the battle, it looks to me like we've managed to rout the enemy on our right flank. Most of Crypto's infantry have been taken out. Okay, make no mistake about that. It was a good hit there from Aurelius and myself, but Crypto's still got his cavalry fully intact, getting in behind us here, looking to charge into the rear of our engaged troops. And don't forget that fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry of Barclaymans as well. But through Aurelius and myself, they're striking together. We've managed, as I say, to rout the enemy on our right flank, and most of Crypto's army has been taken out. Okay, here you can see there's a couple of his infantry units left here that he's got with his Carthage ally facing Mystique's units. But yeah, that was a good move, a good aggressive move by us, I think. Now what I'm thinking here is Spearman may well have to move units over to that other flank to try and shore it up, and then his units in front of me will be lessened and therefore be a bit weakened. As I say, Pompey here doing well with his Macedonians. And as I say, Uther here making no attempt to attack them. He's played Rome Total War long enough to know not to try and take those pikes on head on unless you've got a plan to hold and pin them. But as I say here, very pleased with our combination attack here on the right flank, of where we've managed to rout the enemy team. And as I say, don't forget those Sacred Band cavalry are fully upgraded. Okay, fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry there.
And now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack.
Okay, so you can see Aurelius moving his infantry forward now. Now we're going to look to try and roll the enemy up from right to left. Okay, now we've taken out their right flank. We will look to try and roll them up from right to left. Now, can you see where I've got my cavalry? I can see that Sacred Band cavalry in behind me. And what I'm thinking here is, if we could, between us, take that fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry out, then that would be a good thing for us too. Now, my Praetorian cavalry, I've got mixed upgrades on them, but I'm going to put them up against this fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry, and bang, as they both smash into each other there. Okay, so my cavalry has got mixed upgrades, gold shield, gold attack. 3 of them I think has got an experience stripe on. So I've got mixed upgrades, and I'm up against fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry here. Okay, can you see I've alt-attacked? I'm fighting with my heavy swords there. It looks to me like the Carthaginians are still fighting with their light spears. Right, can you see Mystique coming in with a cavalry unit, and bang! I think Mystique's bringing some infantry over as well. As I say, if we can take out this fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry, that would be a good thing for us. Look at the numbers that we're bringing in here. The best thing for the Carthage general to do, is to pull that cavalry back, because there's no way he's going to win there. And we would have weakened that cavalry a lot. But as you can see, no, I don't think any of those units routed, did they? Maybe one unit, maybe 1 or 2 of the units routed there. But because they're fully upgraded, he's going to charge them back in again. Look, and bang, as he charges them back in. Really aggressive there by Barclayman with those fully upgraded cavalry. But we've got infantry as well. Can you see Spearman there has brought his Scipii cavalry over as well. And he's going to charge in there. And bang, as he charges in there. Plus, I think there's an infantry unit of Cryptos there that may well have rallied. And you can see that both Spearman and Barclayman's cavalry there are engaging Mystique's infantry units here on our right flank. Okay, so they're using their cavalry very, very effectively there on our right flank. Okay, here, as I say, we would be looking to try and roll the enemy team up from right to left. Now, if you notice here, can you see that Spearman has brought some of his Scipii infantry over to this flank to try and shore it up? Okay, so as I say, you can see he's brought a lot of his infantry over there, but now he's only got a few units in front of me. So he has now weakened his army in front of me, and if I attack aggressively, I could punch a hole through the battle line there as he's only got very few infantry units in that particular part of the battlefield. Now here you can see I've spotted Crypto's cavalry coming in behind us here. So what I'm doing is I'm charging my infantry over here to try and counter Crypto's cavalry before it smashes into the back of Uther's army. Now make no mistake here, Crypto's going for Uther's general here. Okay, very tactical, strategic hit here by Crypto. So as I say, I'm charging my infantry over to try and intercept it, try and neutralize it. I've got my cavalry charging over there as well. Make no mistake, that's extremely strong cavalry that Crypto's bringing over there to smash into the rear of Uther's engaged infantry. Get ready for this, and then it goes and bang as it smashes into the rear of Uther's engaged infantry there. Now I'm absolutely amazed that most of Uther's infantry managed to hold there, but also I'd like to show you a good move by Uther. Can you see Uther's cavalry there? If you remember, it was over by those trees, and he's taking it around the rear of the Macedonians there to smash into the rear of their engaged troops. So that was a nice tactical move there by Uther. So he's smashing into the rear of the enemy troops, and Crypto smashing into the rear of his troops. So it's a kind of a combination hit there from both teams. So that's quite good there. As I say, he's pressing forward with his infantry there, holding and pinning the Macedonians while he smashes in behind. I've got my infantry, as I say, trying to intercept that Julii cavalry, and I've got my cavalry coming over as well here. Okay, so you can see my infantry really charging into that Julii cavalry there, and here comes my cavalry, gonna hammer home that attack. Just get ready for this, and bang as we smash into that Julii cavalry there. With my infantry and cavalry here, wouldn't surprise me, there we are, we've routed most of the Julii cavalry, and because those Macedonian units' morale's not very good, they've seen that their allies' units routing, that's lowered their morale, and they have now routed as well. So that was, let's say, nice combination attack there from Uther and myself against those Macedonian units. Okay. So as I said earlier here, Spearman had to move units from where he was over to that other flank to try and shore up that flank. Okay, so he's moved most of his infantry over there, leaving only a few units here. Now if I charge my cavalry and infantry, I've got a good chance of punching a hole through the enemy battle line here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. If you notice here, I'm charging with cavalry and infantry here, trying to smash through what's left of his infantry units there. Spearman's infantry units there, and we've routed them now. So now we've punched a hole through their battle line there. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second here. So Spearman's done well there. He's routed Aurelius's general and lots of Aurelius's units there. So well done to Spearman, taking those units over there to try and hold that flank that we broke earlier. Okay, and say you got Barclayman's Spearman there holding the battle line. Make no mistake, he won't be attacking with those Sacred Band units. He'll just be stood there inviting attack. And there he's got his fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry that he's going to bring into the fray to probably smash into the rear of our engaged troops. Okay, so that's the situation so far as it stands. But as I say here, my cavalry and infantry have managed to punch a hole through the enemy battle line there, where Spearman just had to leave a few units there to try and hold the line while he moved most of his units over to that other flank. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to form up my infantry. I'm bringing all my infantry over. I'm going to form them up into the battle formation and then move them forward. I'm going to lock and load my cavalry. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. So now, it wouldn't surprise me here. Can you see that Pompey is forming a defensive box up here? Okay, he's forming a defensive formation there. So I don't think he's going to do a lot there. So what might be a good idea for Uther is to withdraw all his troops and take them over to the other flank to help us take out his allies there. Help us take out Carthage and Scipii. Okay, so there's no point in attacking those pikes head on at the moment. If Uther just takes his infantry and cavalry back over to the other side, let's concentrate all our troops on taking out Carthage and Scipii, and then we can then return to attack the Macedonians. I don't know what you guys think of that as a tactic, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's what Uther did. Could see the defensive box being formed, waste of time trying to attack them head on. Nice hit here by Crypto's cavalry there, notice there. Routed a couple of Uther's units. So Uther may well think now, waste of time trying to attack those Macedons head on, and move his army over here to help us to try and take out the Scipii and Carthage. Right, can you see here I've formed my infantry up, I've rallied them now, formed them into the battle formation that they were in, and I'm now moving forward towards the enemy troops. Okay, if you notice here, can you see my SBQR cavalry are fighting the Scipii cavalry there, and it looks like we've managed to rout that Scipii cavalry there. And so I shall lock and load my cavalry now, ready to charge in. If you notice here, Aurelius is charging his cavalry in, and bang, as he smashes in to the enemy Scipii infantry there, Spearman's infantry there. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second here. So, as I say here, Uther has done what we thought he would do. He's not going to mess around trying to attack that Macedonian box on his own. He's going to bring back what he's got of his infantry left and his cavalry, and he's probably going to come over and help us try and finish off. Or he might act as a blocker. He might use his infantry as a blocker to stop the Macedonians getting over to help their allies. That could be another tactic. The way he stood there looks to me like he is going to act as a blocking force to stop the Macedonians getting over to the other flank to help their allies. So that's a nice tactical move there by Uther. As I say, I'm pushing my infantry, and you've got Aurelius' cavalry charging in there. You've got Aurelius' infantry charging into poor old Spearman's Scipii army. And as I say, we're really putting the pressure on there. I've got my cavalry locked and loaded, ready to charge in. Let's say pushing my infantry in here against Spearman's Scipii infantry. Let's say Uther's brought his infantry closer. Right, you can see my cavalry. I've locked and loaded it. I'm charging in. Right, let's pause the game for a second. So as I say, I've got my cavalry here. I've locked and loaded them. I'm now charging them in. I'm going for that Scipii general. I'm going for Spearman's general. Make no mistake about that with my cavalry as I press in with my infantry. Notice I've got my infantry really pushing in to that enemy Scipii infantry there. And so what I'm going to do now is smash into that engaged Scipii infantry with my cavalry. Okay, you can see we're pushing on onto the enemy battle formation there. You can see they formed a bit of a defensive box with Carthage and Scipii there. But if you notice, we're pressurising in from all sides there. As I say, my cavalry is going for that Scipii general. As I push my infantry in there, you can see Aurelius' infantry really surging forward. Right, here comes my cavalry. As I say, I'm going for that Scipii general. Get ready for this, and bang, as they smash in there. What an impact. Look how my cavalry is penetrating into that Scipii infantry there. You can see Aurelius and Uther here charging his units in as well. And we've taken out, I think, most of Spearman's army there with a combination of infantry and cavalry. Overwhelming numbers there. We actually swamped him, I think. Now we're going to go on through and charge into the rear of those engaged Carthage units. Okay, so we've taken out both the Scipii and Carthage army, and you can see Pompey bringing his Macedonians across here. Now make no mistake, what he would like, obviously, as we said before, is for us to attack his pikes head on, but we're not going to do that, obviously, unless we've got a plan to hold and pin him. Right, let's pause the game. So as I say, what he'd like here is for us to attack him head on, try and fight down those long pikes, but we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take infantry units around the flank. Well, I might bring units over to pin and hold those Macedonians there, while I take units around the flank and get in behind them or attack them from the flank there. See, taking units round there. So this is the way that you fight pikes. You can pin and hold them if you want with infantry units. Well, you get units around the flank and the rear, but don't just attack them frontwards on just for the sake of it. Only do that if you've got a plan. Okay, so let's say I've got a couple of units out that flank, around that flank. I've got a couple of units I'm moving around to the other flank as well. Can you see there? I'm moving some units around behind them as well. I've got my cavalry locked and loaded now. It wouldn't surprise me if my allies plus my infantry are going to try and pin and hold these Macedonian pikemen while we charge in from all different angles. Okay. Now what I'd like to see is sometimes the Macedonian general can lift the pikes to just move a unit over. Well, if he lifts the pikes and you can hit him fast enough, you can hit him before he can get his pikes down. Right, can you see us really pressurising those forward Macedonian units? Can you see I'm charging units in from the flank? Right, can you see he just put his pikes up? He's going to move that unit, but that cavalry unit's going to smash into him before he can put the pikes down, and bang! Probably going to rout that unit, which it's done. And there, now we can charge into the rest of those units there and rout them. As I say, if you can catch the pike general putting his pikes up and you hit him quick enough before he gets his pikes down, you can then really close in on his troops. And as you can see there, we routed that unit, and that was the open door there that we could use to charge in to rout the rest of the Macedonians there. And it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle there. I say it's quite a spread out battle. All the way over here. Do you remember that right flank there, where the enemy were looking to attack us? They had a big cavalry advantage there at one stage, but then we attacked aggressively there. Can you see all that Julio infantry? That's where Crypto's army was basically taken out by that big massive attack there we did on that right flank. As you move up through the battle line there, you can see more dead, and until you get to this particular part of the battlefield where you can see the most intense part of the fighting was there, just purely by the piles of dead. As I say, if you look all over the battlefield here, you can see how intense this battle was. A really intense battle there. As I say, you can just you can always tell when the most intense part of the battles are by just the looking at the piles dead. And over here on that left flank of ours, where Uther I think did really well against the Macedonians. Oh, is that one of Uther's? Oh, it has only just landed. That's one of Uther's parachute regiment there. Obviously got out the plane a bit late, but as you say, you can see there that this was a real battle of attrition here on this left flank. I thought Uther played extremely well here against the Macedonians, and Pompey played the Macedonians really well there. So it's a real tussle here on our left flank. But as I say, we managed to go on to to win the battle there. And I think that's the Macedonian general just been taken out. So first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Really well played, guys. Everybody played really well there. Just say I was very surprised it was a clear victory. I thought it would have just been an average victory, really. I didn't think we played that well for a clear. Just say really well done to Uther there. Got the highest kills in the game, 1,642, facing Macedon as well. So I thought that was a really good kill rate for him there. So well done to Uther. Did really well there with his old battle formation and old army. So well done to Brotherhood member Crypto. Possibly didn't get the kills that he wanted to there, but he was hit quite hard on that right flank early on. But well done to him. Well done to Barclay man. Possibly didn't get the kills that he wanted to, but he did well with his Carthage army. Well done to Pompey. Well done holding that flank as well as he did there, especially against all the pilot hits. And well done to Spearman. Probably didn't get the kills that he wanted to there, but well done to all of you guys. Really well played. It was a great battle there. As I say, let's say well done to Brotherhood member Uther with the highest kills. That old army of mine, see I got the smallest army on the battlefield there. So kills not too bad there for the smallest army. Still got quite a few troops left. Well done to Mystique. Remember, 18 infantry units and 2 cavalry. Got some good kills. Got a lot of troops left as well. And well done to Aurelius there. Got some good kills there with his army. Very aggressive on that right flank. So well done. Do you think there was a faction advantage here with us having 4 Romans up against a Roman, a Carthage, a Macedonian and a Rome? Do you think there's a faction advantage, or do you reckon it was pretty even there? I just wonder what your thoughts were. So I'd just like to say really well played to everybody in the game. Hope you enjoyed this battle, and I thought it was a real battle of attrition. Well played to everybody again. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.